Snow drifts across the wire. Not much, just a whisper of white that softens the hard edges of the camp. The sky above is the color of ash, and in that light the barbed wire gleams faintly, like frozen veins across the landscape. Somewhere, far off, a truck engine growls, an American one. Its sound carries through the stillness like a threat and a promise. Anna stands near the fence, clutching the frayed edge of her wool coat to her chest. Her fingers are cracked from cold and soap, her nails broken, a dark crescent of earth beneath each one. Behind her, women murmur softly in German, voices frayed by exhaustion, brittle from fear. Some whisper prayers, others curse under their breath. She smells diesel, wet hay, and the faint metallic scent of the wire. A gust of wind pushes against her face, and she can taste salt from her own tears, though she doesn't remember crying. They told her the Americans were monsters. That they cut off ears for souvenirs. That they let prisoners starve in cages. That they laughed while Germans begged for mercy. She had believed it, she had to. It made her fear make sense. Now, as the trucks draw near, engines humming low, she wonders if this is how the end begins, quietly, without screams. The others stand frozen, their breath forming ghosts in the air. Don't look at them, whispers Liesel beside her. Show no weakness. But Anna's eyes lift. The trucks slow. American soldiers jump down, their boots landing in the slush. They are young, so impossibly young, with clean faces and easy postures, rifles slung loosely over shoulders. One of them glances their way, smiles slightly. A smile. Anna's stomach twists. She expects cruelty wrapped in that smile. Instead, the soldier removes a cigarette from his lips, drops it, and crushes it under his boot, almost politely. The air smells suddenly of tobacco and gasoline and something unfamiliar, peppermint gum. For the first time in months, Anna feels hunger sharpen rather than dull. The gate creaks open. Days earlier, the journey had begun, though time, in war, no longer obeys the calendar. It was late April 1945 when the train left the outskirts of Munich. The women packed into cattle cars, 50, maybe 60 to a wagon, carrying with them what little they had. A shawl, a photograph, a spoon, a Bible without its cover. The war was ending, they'd been told, but endings in Germany came like avalanches, beautiful from afar, murderous up close. Inside the train, it smelled of straw, iron, and human breath. Someone was singing softly, a lullaby, out of place among the scraping of boots and the rattling of metal wheels. The song was about spring returning to the valley. The irony was too much for some. A woman began to sob. Others joined in, quietly, as if crying in unison might warm the air. Anna sat pressed against Liesel, who had once been a schoolteacher from Dresden. Liesel carried a small leather notebook tied shut with string. She said it was her Schattentagebuch, her shadow diary. When the train lurched forward, she untied the string and began to write, the pencil trembling between her fingers. Greater than April 26, 1945. We are heading west. They say the Americans are taking us. I do not know if we should hope or fear. The air smells like rust and hay. My hands shake as I write this. If I die, let this page remember me. The rhythm of the train became hypnotic. Clack, 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 a heartbeat that wasn't their own. Through slits in the wooden slats, Anna saw fragments of a broken country. Fields cratered by shells, villages blackened and hollow, children waving white cloths from ditches. Each flash of the landscape was like a mirror, showing not what was, but what had been lost. A woman near the door whispered that her son had died in Berlin. Another said her husband had vanished in the Ardennes. The stories floated through the car like dust, settling on everyone's shoulders. No one brushed them off. When the train stopped, it wasn't to rest. The guards shouted, "Raus! Alice Raus!" They stumbled into the rain, thin, gray, endless. Trucks waited on the muddy road, engines coughing smoke into the mist. The Americans had taken over from the Wehrmacht guards, but these new men didn't bark orders. They gestured with open hands, spoke words no one understood. Their accents were rounded, gentle even when commanding. Anna watched one soldier help an older woman climb into the truck, steadying her by the elbow. No laughter, no mockery. Just a hand, rough but kind. It made her uneasy. As the convoy rolled forward, the women clung to the sides of the truck, staring at the foreign landscape, not foreign by distance, but by mood. The further west they went, the less war there seemed to be. Roads unscarred by shells, barns still standing, fields green and alive. For months, Germany had been a nation of rubble and smoke. Now, crossing into Allied lines felt like stepping into a world that had somehow refused to break. Do you think they will feed us? Liesel whispered. Feed us? Anna repeated, her voice hollow. They might shoot us. But when the convoy stopped at dusk, the soldiers unloaded crates marked with English words she couldn't read. One soldier opened a tin, the smell wafting instantly, meat, real meat, and something sweet underneath. He handed it to them. Spam. They didn't know the word, but they knew the taste. Salt, fat, and the dizzying memory of what it meant to be nourished. Some women ate too quickly, choking. Others held back, suspicious. Anna bit into the pink meat, expecting bitterness, and found only warmth. She began to cry without sound. The rain masked her tears. Greater than Liesel wrote that night. The Americans gave us food. They looked at us as if we were people, not enemies. I don't know how to feel. It's easier to hate when they hate you back. The trucks moved again by morning. They passed villages untouched by bombs. Children playing baseball in open fields. Men in clean uniforms waving as they drove by. The smell of spring returned to the air, grass, soil, and something else, cooking. It drifted in faintly from a nearby farm where breakfast was being made. Butter sizzling on a pan. Coffee. The scent was so vivid, so alive, that the women inhaled it as if it might keep them from fading away. Anna closed her eyes and imagined bread, not the black sawdust loaves of wartime Germany, but the thick, crusted kind her mother used to bake before the war, golden and soft inside. The memory hurt more than hunger. As they crossed the Rhine, an American flag flapped lazily above the bridge. Its colors startled her, too bright, too clean. The Germans had grown used to grays and browns, to everything dimmed by ash. Here, red was red, and white was blinding. The river below gleamed like polished steel. On the far bank, the land seemed to breathe differently. One soldier, seated near the tailgate, took out a bottle. Brown glass, red label, a shape Anna had never seen. He opened it with a hiss, a fizzing sigh that made all the women look up. He drank, then noticed their eyes. He hesitated, smiled, and passed the bottle toward them. Coca-Cola, he said. They didn't understand the word, but the sound was musical, like a secret spell. Anna hesitated. The bottle was cold, sweating in her hand. She raised it to her lips, and the first sip startled her, sweetness, sharpness, bubbles that tickled her throat. It was like drinking sunlight and lightning at once. The other women gasped when she coughed, thinking it might be poison. But she only laughed, a sound she hadn't made in months. Liesel wrote later that night in her shadow diary. Greater than they gave us something called Coca-Cola. It burns and sings in your mouth. I felt alive for the first time since the sirens. Perhaps it is true, we did not win this war. We could never have made something that joyful. The convoy moved on. The women were silent now, each swallowed by her own thoughts. They had seen the leaflets before. Allied propaganda dropped from planes, showing happy prisoners, smiling nurses, clean clothes. They'd burned them, laughed at them, called them lies. Yet here they were, driving through a land that seemed to exist in another dimension, where the war was something distant, like thunder beyond the hills. For some, the disbelief was numbing. For others, unbearable. Anna thought of her brother, dead in Stalingrad. Of her father, who had called the Americans decadent parasites. She imagined telling him about the soldiers who handed her food without cruelty. He would not have believed her. And part of her didn't want to believe it either. When the trucks finally stopped again, it was near a wide field surrounded by wooden barracks. The camp, but this was no dungeon. The air smelled of pine and soap. The fences were high but neat, the gates orderly. No dogs, no shouting guards, only the quiet hum of distant laughter, American soldiers playing somewhere beyond the trees. A sign at the entrance read, POW Camp, U.S. Army, and beneath it, in smaller letters, Women Section. The word women struck Anna harder than any blow. Not prisoners, not enemies. Women. It was dusk. The sky was bleeding pink and gold. The women were led to barracks lined with bunks, blankets folded with precision. A single bulb hung overhead, casting a warm yellow light. It hummed softly. After months in the dark, the light itself felt like luxury. Anna touched the pillow. Real linen. She almost laughed again, a laugh that trembled like glass. Liesel sat on the bunk opposite, staring at her hands. It's a trick, she whispered. Anna didn't answer. She didn't know anymore. Outside, the last light faded behind the pines. Somewhere, a record player began to play, faint, crackling, an American song full of brass and swing. The melody floated through the night, alien yet oddly tender. The women lay down fully clothed, too tired to undress, too afraid to sleep. Anna watched the light flicker against the wall and listened to the laughter drifting from beyond the fence. For the first time since the world had collapsed, she felt something she couldn't name, not hope, not fear. Something quieter. Possibility. Morning arrives gently, like something shy. A mist hangs over the camp, softening the lines of the barracks, turning the barbed wire into delicate lace. The sun hasn't yet burned through, and for a few fleeting minutes, it almost looks like peace. The women wake to sound, not shouting, not boots on gravel, but a bell. One clear, measured ring. Anna sits up, momentarily disoriented. Her body still expects violence. The sound of the bell means roll call, punishment, command. But the voice that follows is calm, accented, almost polite. Breakfast. Come line up by the mess hall. Breakfast. The word itself feels like an absurd luxury. For months, food had meant scraps, gray bread, thin soup. The idea of a meal feels indecent, almost sinful. Outside, the air smells different, not just pine, but something cooking. Fat, coffee, yeast. The scent rolls over them in waves. The women follow it like sleepwalkers. In front of the mess hall, a young American corporal stands beside two long tables. His uniform is clean, his face shaved. Behind him, a German interpreter, a woman in a Red Cross armband, speaks softly to the prisoners. Take your trays, one at a time, no pushing. The trays are metal, smooth and cold in their hands. Steam rises from the serving pans. The smell is overwhelming: eggs, butter, bread baked that very morning. Before it's gone. But nothing is gone. The soldiers behind the counter ladle out portions with quiet efficiency. Not grudgingly, not cruelly, simply as if this were normal. The normalcy is what breaks them. Anna takes her plate, trembling. Scrambled eggs, a slice of ham, bread white as snow. And on the side, a small glass bottle. The label in bright red cursive, Coca-Cola. She stares at it as if it might vanish. At the end of the table, another soldier smiles and gestures to a condiment bottle. Ketchup, he says, pronouncing it slowly, as if teaching a word to a child. He squeezes a red dollop onto her plate. Good, he adds, nodding. Anna manages to nod back, though her lips are dry. They sit at wooden tables under the open canopy. The benches creak under the weight of disbelief. For a long moment, no one eats. They only stare at the colors: yellow eggs, red ketchup, white bread, the colors of abundance. Then someone takes a bite. Then another. And the silence breaks into soft, private sobs. Liesel covers her mouth, shaking. It's not right, she whispers. We shouldn't, not after everything. But Anna is already chewing, tears streaking down her face. The taste is unreal, warm, rich, soft enough to melt against her tongue. It's more than food, it's forgiveness she doesn't know how to accept. A soldier passes by, refilling coffee mugs. The smell is dark and intoxicating. When Anna lifts the cup to her lips, her hands tremble so badly she spills it. The soldier crouches, wipes the spill with a rag, and says something she only half understands. All good, ma'am. Ma'am. The word strikes like lightning. Respect. A word not meant for prisoners, not for Germans. Certainly not for women like her. Greater than Liesel wrote that morning. They call us, ma'am. They serve us coffee. I don't know if I'm alive or dreaming. When I drink, I taste guilt. The first shock of captivity, it turns out, isn't brutality, it's kindness. And that, somehow, is harder to bear. Later that day, they are issued new clothes, plain cotton dresses, laundered and mended. The smell of soap clings to the fabric, floral and foreign. Anna presses it to her face, inhaling. Her old uniform, the coarse, gray thing that still smells of smoke, lies folded on the bunk. She hesitates, then leaves it there. It feels like shedding skin. Outside, the camp hums with quiet order. There are flower beds by the main gate. Soldiers tending them, a radio playing swing music. The women watch from the fence, listening to English words they don't understand. Yet the melody feels like sunlight breaking through shutters. For the first time in years, they hear laughter without menace. Daily Revelations 1525 Min. Days begin to blur, not from monotony, but from disbelief. Every sunrise brings something new to unlearn. 1. Food and memory. Each morning, the mess hall offers the same miracle: food without fear. Oatmeal with raisins, butter thick enough to leave fingerprints. Fresh oranges, real oranges, their scent exploding in the air like perfume. Anna peels one slowly, watching the juice bead on her fingers. She hasn't seen fruit like this since before the war. The sweetness stings her tongue, awakening something buried. She writes in her borrowed notebook. Greater than May 2nd, the Americans eat like gods. There is no hunger in their eyes. I don't understand how they can be so soft and still win wars. At lunch, they are served hamburgers, strange, round, wrapped in paper. The meat sizzles, the bread gleams with butter. When Anna bites in, the juices run down her chin. The flavor is heavy, smoky, alive. She closes her eyes. It's too much salt, too much taste, too much life. Around her, other women laugh nervously, their voices shaky. Liesel whispers, "What kind of meat is this?" "Beef," answers an interpreter. "Just beef." "Yes, just beef." The simplicity feels impossible. No rationing, no sawdust bread, no substitutes. Just food, real food. That night, Anna dreams of her mother's kitchen, the smell of potatoes frying, the scrape of the pan. But when she wakes, the dream has turned sour. Because she remembers. Her mother is gone, her house bombed, her city ash. Abundance, she realizes, can be its own kind of cruelty. 2. Kindness from the enemy. A week later, Anna falls ill. A fever, nothing serious, but enough to weaken her. She expects to be ignored. Instead, a nurse arrives, American, with hair pinned back neatly, smelling faintly of alcohol and lavender. She brings medicine in a folded towel. "Drink this," she says gently. Anna stares at the cup, suspicious. The nurse waits, patient, smiling. "It's aspirin, not poison," she jokes softly. Anna drinks. The bitterness spreads across her tongue, and tears come without warning. The nurse touches her shoulder, just a touch, nothing more, and for some reason, that touch breaks her. "Why?" Anna whispers, in halting English. "Why are you kind?" The nurse doesn't answer. She only smooths the blanket and says, "Rest now." When Anna wakes, the fever has broken. On the table beside her bed is a small object, a bar of white soap, wrapped in paper, stamped with blue letters, ivory. It smells like flowers. She holds it for hours, afraid to unwrap it, afraid to use it, afraid to lose it. Greater than Liesel's diary entry that night. The soap is heavy, like marble. The smell reminds me of gardens we once had. To be clean feels like sin when home is in ruins. They begin to realize something terrible. The enemy treats them better than their own army ever had. 3. Glimpses of America. As weeks pass, the prisoners are allowed to walk under supervision along the edge of the camp. Beyond the fence lie American towns, quiet, intact, alive. They can see the rooftops, the glint of cars on the road, the flutter of dresses on washing lines. On Sundays, church bells ring in the distance. The sound is clean, unbroken, free of sirens. Children's laughter carries on the wind. The contrast is unbearable. Liesel murmurs, "They have no ruins." Anna nods. "They have no hunger." Once, they are taken to work at a nearby farm, helping with laundry and kitchen duties. The farmer's wife, a round woman with gentle hands, offers them lemonade. The smell of sugar and citrus fills the air. The woman's son, a small boy, hides behind her skirt, staring at the German ladies, as if they're exotic creatures. "Thank you," Anna says awkwardly, in broken English. The woman only smiles. "You're welcome." The words feel like a bomb and a wound all at once. When they return to camp that evening, the sunset spreads across the horizon in molten gold. The world, it seems, has remembered how to be beautiful, just not for them. 4. Gratitude, guilt, and shame. One night, sitting by the fence, Anna and Liesel whisper beneath the stars. The air smells of grass and distant smoke from the soldiers' campfire. "They feed us," Liesel says quietly. They smile. "But my heart doesn't know what to do with it." Anna nods. "I hate them for being kind. It makes everything worse." Liesel frowns. "Worse. Yes. If they were cruel, I could still believe in what we were told. But now I see what we became." The words hang in the air, trembling. Neither woman speaks for a long time. That night, Anna writes in her journal. "Greater than each kindness is a mirror. In it, I see what I refused to see, that cruelty was ours, not theirs. I am grateful, and ashamed. The two live together in me, like sisters who will not speak." The next morning, rain falls, gentle, steady. The camp smells of wet earth and soap. The women wash their clothes and hang them on the lines, watching the steam rise from the laundry room's open windows. The scent of detergent drifts through the air, mingling with pine. For a moment, if you didn't know better, you might think it was peace. 5. Letters from home. Weeks later, mail arrives. The guards distribute envelopes, thin and fragile, bearing the red stamp of the Allied censor. Anna's hands shake as she opens hers. The handwriting is her sister's, looping and uncertain. Greater than Hamburg is gone, the letter reads. Mother is gone. The house burned. We live in ruins. Children dig in garbage for food. They say you are in an American camp. If that is true, you are lucky. Forgive me for saying it. I am glad you are safe. She reads the letter again and again until the ink smudges under her tears. That night, she doesn't eat. The food sits untouched. Buttered bread, soup thick with vegetables. Her stomach churns with guilt. Around her, the camp feels unbearably bright, electric lights, clean floors, laughter from the American side. The contrast is too cruel. Liesel reads her own letter and weeps silently. Her husband is missing, her city reduced to dust. They sit side by side on the bunk, letters trembling in their hands. Outside, the radio plays another American tune, Louis Armstrong, I'll Be Seeing You. The song drifts through the barracks, tender and haunting. Greater than Liesel writes, they have jazz, we have silence. They have bread, we have ashes. I don't know which hurts more. 6. A Sunday in May. On the camp's bulletin board, a new notice appears, Sunday service, optional attendance. Some of the women go, curious. Others refuse. Anna goes. The small chapel is nothing more than a wooden hut with benches. An American chaplain stands at the front, reading softly from a Bible. The light through the window glows like honey. He speaks of forgiveness, of enemies who are no longer enemies, of the strange mercy that grows in the ruins of war. Anna doesn't understand every word, but she feels it. The tone, the pauses, the warmth. When the service ends, he says in slow German, peace begins when we stop believing lies. Outside, Anna stands alone, staring at the flag on the pole, red, white, blue. The fabric ripples in the wind. For months, she had been taught to hate it. Now, she cannot. The wind smells of pine and soap again. The same smell that greeted her first morning here. It no longer smells like captivity. It smells like awakening.
Summer creeps quietly over the camp. The pines shimmer green, the air warm with dust and sun. What began as captivity now feels like a strange, suspended life, neither freedom nor punishment, but something in between. The women have grown stronger. Faces no longer hollow, eyes no longer wild. Yet inside, something remains bruised, a dissonance that kindness cannot heal. Every evening, the American flag is lowered at sunset. The soldiers stand at attention, the prisoners watch through the fence. The tune, the Star-Spangled Banner, drifts through the air, solemn and proud. Anna listens with a strange ache in her chest. Once, she had sung her own anthem with fire. Now, hearing theirs, she wonders what it must feel like to believe in something without fear. Letters keep coming, thin envelopes that carry the ruins of home. Dresden, Hamburg, Berlin, words written from cellars, from refugee camps, from hunger. The contrast grows unbearable. How can she eat fresh fruit when her sister eats dust? Greater than Liesel's diary. We are safe, fed, clean. But when I close my eyes, I see Germany's bones. Each kindness from them feels like salt on those graves. One afternoon, a soldier approaches Anna as she hangs laundry. He is young, freckles across his nose, the same one who had offered her coffee weeks ago. You speak English, he says, smiling. A little, she admits. He hesitates, then offers her a chocolate bar. For you. The foil glints in the sunlight. She stares at it as if it were gold. Her hands tremble when she takes it. Why? She asks softly. He shrugs. Because you look sad. It is such a simple reason, such an impossible one. When he walks away, she unwraps the chocolate. The scent, sweet, deep, foreign, floods her senses. She breaks off a small piece and tastes it. It melts instantly, soft and rich, bringing tears to her eyes. That night, she dreams of her mother again, not the ruins, but the laughter, the kitchen, the smell of cocoa. She wakes weeping. In the days that follow, Anna begins to realize that her war is not over. The battle now lives inside her, between what she was taught and what she has seen. Between guilt and gratitude, between memory and mercy. Sometimes she wonders if this is what defeat truly means, not chains, but the unbearable freedom to question everything. Resolution 32:35 minutes. It happens on an ordinary morning. The sky pale, the air still. A soldier pins a new notice on the board: repatriation begins next week. All POWs to be processed for return to Germany. Whispers ripple through the camp. Some cheer, some fall silent. Anna feels neither, only a heavy stillness, like standing at the edge of two worlds. That evening, she walks to the fence one last time. Beyond it, the sun sets in a blaze of orange and gold. The air smells of cut grass and coffee drifting from the mess hall. She presses her hand against the wire, the same wire that once meant captivity. Now it feels almost protective. Liesel joins her. Are you ready to go home? Anna shakes her head slowly. I don't know what home means anymore. They stand there in silence as the American flag flutters above them, its colors catching the last light. The sound of swing music floats faintly from the barracks, laughter, the clink of bottles, the rhythm of a world that never collapsed. Anna whispers, do you think they hate us? Liesel answers, no, that's what frightens me. The next morning, the trucks return, the same kind that brought them months ago. But now, the women climb aboard in clean clothes, their faces sun-warmed and calm. The Americans hand them parcels: bread, canned food, chocolate. Gifts for the journey. As the engines start, Anna looks back. The camp recedes into the distance, the fences, the flags, the pines swaying gently in the breeze. She feels a strange pull in her chest, not of longing, but of understanding. Greater than her final diary entry. They showed us mercy when we expected punishment. They gave us food when we deserved none. I will never forget the taste of Coca-Cola, the fizz that burned and sang on my tongue. It was not the drink that shocked me, it was the freedom that came with it. The greatest cruelty, perhaps, was to be treated as human again. The convoy crosses the border into the ruins of Germany. Smoke rises in the distance. The air smells of dust and ash, familiar and heavy. Children watch from the roadside, hollow-eyed. Anna opens one of the American tins and hands it to them through the window. A small act, but it feels like the first thing she has ever done freely. She leans back, watching the sky. Clouds drift, white and endless. For the first time, she feels no sides, no flags, no slogans, only the quiet ache of being alive. Greater than Liesel writes one last line beside her. We went to war as enemies. We return as witnesses. The truck drives on. The road stretches ahead, long and uncertain. The sound of its wheels hums like a heartbeat. In the distance, faintly, the wind carries a familiar tune, laughter, music, and the ghostly fizz of a Coca-Cola bottle opening somewhere in another world. Fade to silence.